As you can see, today we're gonna do this soft glam look. This is one of my favorite makeup looks ever. I am a soft glam girly through and through. So I'm gonna walk you guys through how I got this look step by step. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm gonna start off with e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. And this just makes sure that my skin looks like skin. I always tell you guys this. It's just a liquid illuminizer. I'm gonna keep it right where I placed it on the face. The e.l.f. Halo Glow does have a little bit of coverage also. Lancome Teens Idol. This is the Care and Glow foundation. I like this one because it's nice and lightweight. I'm just gonna kind of start in like the center of the face where I have the most redness and have it kind of drop off by the time I get to the edge of my face. And that was just one pump of foundation. I'm gonna start sculpting. This is my favorite part with the Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer. I like this one because it is a little bit thicker. It's still creamy and not drying though, but it has a little bit more coverage. I like to start far away from my lower lash line because I don't want all the product to go up there because I have fine lines. You'll get less creasing if you kind of start it away from that lower lash line. And then I'm gonna use this to lift the sides of my mouth, and it just gives me more of like a cheek. Follow the same line as my lips, the angle. That's my guide. And I'm gonna use a sponge to blend it out. Just because a sponge does pick up like the excess product, so I like using a sponge with concealer. So that I get that coverage from the concealer, but I don't want to have excess concealer sitting around. And then I'm gonna kind of blend this out and then bring it to the lower lash line, whatever is left. I'm gonna use the lower lash as my guide for the angle right here to lift my eyes as well, just like I did for the mouth. You can go all the way to the hairline if you want for like a super snatch. And we'll blend it in later. We're just getting the lifting and brightening done right now. I don't go too bright with my concealer, so it's not brightening a whole lot, but it is just enough for me personally. And this is what we look like, nice and lifted and bright awake. Now I'm gonna go in with some cream bronzer that's a little bit more on the neutral side. This is Milani Cheek Kiss in Hey Honey. I like this because it's kind of like a bronzer, it's kind of like a contour, so it's really gonna be perfect for sculpting my face. Always blend back into the hairline so you don't have that like bronzer forehead. And then for the bronzer on the cheeks, you always want to make sure you kind of place it a little bit higher than you think, because once you blend it, it does kind of drop down a little bit. So I'm gonna go pretty high up right here with the bronzer. I'm kind of putting it where you would expect blush to go. And for this, I'm just pressing it in. Using a small brush, this is from Milani, and it fits exactly where I want the bronzer to go. Kind of stop the bronzer at like the end of my eye. That's as far in as I like to go with bronzer. Now we're a little more sculpted. I'm gonna go in with a liquid contour now from Moira. I really need a new one of these. I think I'm like at the end. Sculpt a little bit more on the forehead, right here only, just to make it look a little slimmer. And then I'm gonna take some right at the bottom of that bronzer that we placed down, because that's where the hollow of the cheek is, and that's where I want it to look a little more sculpted. So I'm gonna put the contour there, and then I'm gonna do my nose, following the front of my brow, and then straight down. This is where we are snatching, so I can really pinpoint it, and I like to push it upwards into the bronzer to give us that illusion of a cheekbone. This really starts coming to life, and I'm gonna use this angled brush for the nose. This is my favorite. I'm just gonna kind of slide it down. Our blush, today's blush combo is my current fave. This is Rare Beauty Happy, and right above that bronzer is where I'm putting the blush. So it goes blush, bronzer, contour is kind of like the sandwich that it makes. And they all kind of blend into each other. Okay, now I'm gonna start setting the face because we cannot leave ourselves out like this, nice and shiny. And I'm gonna use Sephora Micro Smooth, of course. And I want this to be a matte look on the face, so press it in. I'm not gonna put it on the cheeks because I'm gonna use blush to set, but I'm gonna put it everywhere else. And before I set under the eyes, I'm gonna go in with a little brush and really scoop out any excess product that is creasing underneath my eyes. Now I can go in and set and make sure to look up to get it in the fine lines. I'm just gonna fill in my brows normally, and I'm gonna use the Kosas Brow Pop. I like to work on the arch because it's kind of missing. And then I like to work on the front by working on the bottom of the front, kind of filling it in with strokes. Wow, who is she? I do want to put a little bit of brow gel, so I'm going to use the Ardell Ardell Brow Glue, and just run a little bit. I'm not going to do a laminated look, I'm just going to kind of set them to keep them in place. Using a lot of like throwback classics from my favorites, so I'm going to use the Sigma bronzer in medium, and I'm just going to go through my crease and start creating some shape. Front of the brow, connect this to my brow. And then also when I get to the outer crease, I'm gonna go out here, and then I'm gonna go towards the end of my brow for a lifted, more almond eye effect. I use the Too Faced Natural Nudes palette. I love this palette. It just has the perfect soft glam colors. Start by going in with the shade Maple. And I'm basically just gonna do the same thing I did with the bronzer. I'm gonna start on the outer corner, and I'm using a little bit smaller of a brush to get a little more defined, but same placement as the bronzer. I'm just building depth and pull it out. Okay, I'm gonna keep it these tones. Curling your lashes really helps you do the outer corner. It helps you be able to see it and kind of see where it should go. I'm gonna use a little smudger brush with the darkest shade in the palette, which is Truffle, and I'm just gonna go from my outer corner and just pull this out. I'm just gonna go in back and forth motions, and it creates this wing. It's almost like the wing is at the edge of my eye. It's not necessarily on my eyelid, it's right outside of my eyelid. But it should always look natural, like this kind of extends into the line. You could either do it up or you could do it a little more straight. I'm gonna do a little more straight, makes the eyes look a little more open. I'm gonna use the Urban Decay concealer. I like this one to do a cut crease. And you don't want to put too much on the brush, just enough to coat it. Start making my cut crease. A cut crease will never die for me. And I'm not going to use, you see where my eyelid folds? I have eyelid folds. That's not my actual crease. So this is where my eyelid is folding. My actual crease is where I can stick the brush in. That's where I want to make my cut crease. Last time I did this, I made my eyes so crooked. And this creates the illusion of having bigger eyelid space. And just a thin layer so it's easy to blend out. So you see how this kind of looks like more open than this side? This is my lazy eye. So let me try to make them the same. The two lightest matte shades in the palette, more so the light one. And we're going to set the cut crease. This is kind of like a soft cut crease. It's not super intense. Blending brush again with Maple, and just kind of go over this area to just reinforce that shadow. There you go, much better. It gets kind of lost, so I'm just reinforcing it. I'm gonna put a little bit more concealer on, and I'm gonna go underneath the brow as well. And you can see, since I have all this shadow here, I'm only gonna start highlighting from the arch down to the tail of the brow. And this is just gonna give you that illusion of a lifted brow, especially when there's a shadow in here. I'm gonna use the leftover concealer to clean up this edge. It's one of my favorite makeup hacks. It just really gives you that professional, clean look and the perfect snatch. And then I'm gonna go reinforce the line with some pencil liner, and it should be really easy to do because you just cleaned it up, and we're just reinforcing that brown eyeshadow. Mascara from Milk. This is my favorite because it keeps my lashes nice and up. This is Sigma Sunset Kiss. Still to this day, hands down, one of my favorite blushes as a beige girly. And I'm just going to set where we put the liquid blush. This is kind of sitting at like the bottom of the cheek. And it looks so good already, but if you are a blush addict like me, we're gonna go in with another blush. This is Too Faced Candied Clouds, and it's a really cool pink blush, and it's gonna look really good mixed with that like corally blush. And we're gonna put this at the very top of the cheek, so it's like a mid-tone blush, but it's just gonna make everything pop a little bit more. You see how it gets like a little more vibrant than this one? It's very subtle, but it definitely makes a really big difference. It's kind of like the Amaya Cologne viral TikTok makeup look, but it's a little bit darker in tone for me. Her pinky blush was like really light pink. I don't think that would look good on me. So I'm just doing like my own kind of version that would look good on my skin tone. And then I'm gonna go in with some more powder from Huda Beauty. This is the Easy Bake powder in Peach Pie. I like to put this in my hand. And now we're gonna go in and brighten right underneath the eye and kind of like reverse contour that nose. Give it more of that snatched look by going right at the edge of the nose contour. Going right here snatches the nose and makes it look more pinched. Also gives your whole entire face a more lifted look. And then we're gonna just kind of blend this in with the blush over here. Just kind of reset everything in this area because this is where I tend to like lose my makeup quickest. So the lashes, I'm gonna put on these Ardell seamless lashes. I'm gonna do 10 millimeters and 12 millimeters. I'm gonna put this one at the very end. Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in Endless Cacao, which is a cool tone lip liner. Overline the center. And then I'm gonna overline the center on the top. I'm gonna kind of connect to my Cupid's bow. And then I'm gonna do Anastasia Lip Velvet in Pure Hollywood, which is like the perfect neutral nude. Look at that. And they're so like powdery looking, so I love these. But honestly, I feel like nude lips look best with the gloss, so we're gonna use the Lawless. This lip combo is everything, just wait. The Lawless Forget the Filler Plumping Lip Gloss in Rosy Outlook, which is basically kind of like a clear. Oh yeah. The shine on these is so good. And you don't need much. I'm not even gonna dip into it because I always make that mistake. But they feel so good, you wanna keep dipping into the bottle and like lathering it on, but you can't because it gets really like goopy if you do. But if you just do one dip, it's perfect. And the shine is still perfect with just one dip. We look a little powdery, and to be honest, this is okay because throughout the day, your oils are gonna mix with the powders and it's gonna settle throughout the day, but if you want it to settle right now, you can put some spray and this is gonna really like settle the powder, marry it with the creams and liquids underneath. And you can go in with the sponge and just press it all in. This will also just pick up any excess. The sponge is your best friend. Like, it could fix any mistake, I'm convinced. If you feel like it's too much blush, just go over it with the sponge. Make sure you're not going on like the concealer side, but just an open side, just kind of, I like the blush, so I'm not gonna do that. But if you felt like it was too much, just tap over with the sponge and it'll get rid of any excess and kind of blend it in a little bit more. And I'll just give you a little bit more of a natural look if that's your vibe. And then I'm gonna do bottom lashes with Give Beauty. This was originally a 90s inspired makeup look, but they definitely did not do their makeup like this in the 90s. It's just 90s inspired, like the vibe. But it wouldn't be a 90s inspired look without some moles. And I like to use black liner for this when I do like a matte soft glam look like this. So I'm gonna use the Rare Beauty liquid liner as my tool because it's very black. And I kind of like to do like the bigger beauty marks with this. I'm obsessed. I feel like I did it better today than I did it for TikTok and Instagram, so you guys are lucky. This is the final look. I added some earrings, and yeah, if you guys know me, then you know I love this makeup look. It is the makeup look that I could probably do every day and not get tired of it. So you could say that soft glam makeup is my favorite. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Everything will be linked in the description. And if you guys have any other makeup tutorial requests, let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.